For a little awkward, Zach, because we're both just like,
hello, Zach.
Like staring straight forward, like,
This is new. All righty. Good. We're having giggles before we even start. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Beehive Biker Podcast, episode 20, official 20. Woo. It's always throwing me. I don't know if I should be annoyed that we did, not annoyed, but we did the intro episode 0. And so it always, we say this is episode 20, but we've done 20 episodes technically. So I don't know. This is episode 20 in the lineup, I should say.
So it would technically be 21?
Sure.
Because of 0?
0 plus 20 is 21, yes.
Okay.
Because we math here. But yeah, so episode 20. Can you believe it? I'm going to say that every time we hit like episode, a 10 denominator.
We're going to be at episode 25 and it's going to be the same thing. So I feel like we said the same thing for episode 18 and episode 15.
Maybe I needed to stop saying it.
Episode 13.
I need to just shut my mouth. Like, all right, next episode, moving on. But yeah, as you can tell, we are here at Saddleback Harley-Davidson, and Weston invited us over to come and have a chat. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
How does it feel coming back on the podcast?
It feels great.
It must not have been too bad.
No, I said it was a little nerve-wracking at first, but I mean, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it and glad to be back.
Right on.
I feel like you're pretty natural about the whole thing, so.
It's Jeremy.
Oh,
Jeremy can talk, so it worked out.
I can sometimes talk too much. I was honestly surprised with the episode that aired today, how easy it was. Because when I started, it was. I'll throw myself under the bus a little bit here. I was editing it today, but this morning, and there's a little clip of audio at the very beginning, and it's literally me going, all right, you got this. You can do it. and then I start the episode, and I had finished editing everything, and I about hit export and had it still in the video.
You totally should have.
I tried to slide it so it was still in like the opening song in the theme so that you wouldn't be able to hear it, but you could. It's like no, and I'm like, you got this.
Should ask before we get too far. Did you push record?
Yes, it's recording this time. What are you talking about, Weston? What?
I know I clicked record, so we're fine.
Hey, hold on. I clicked record yesterday on my camera, and it had an issue. So, oh my gosh, yeah, I was like, dang it. And here's, like I told you earlier, when you're editing it and you can increase the quality or like have it processed in post, and it. Well, after you cut it, it wants to reprocess it, but it takes like a half an hour on this computer. And so I was like, gosh, dang it, I was almost done. So.
I will say this. I was quite surprised when I looked and was like, man, he spoke for an hour and 3 minutes by himself.
I'm a talker, apparently.
I was waiting to hear, and this is my guest for today. And then you were like, and I'm all by myself. Like,
didn't you know that I was going to be rolling solo?
No.
Didn't I tell you? No, yeah, I was hoping to get, so one that I do have scheduled, I think it's next week, is Ellie's cousin, and I mentioned it on the podcast yesterday, and so I was hoping he'd be able to be the one for today, the one that we posted today, and he's like, yeah, sorry, I can't make that, but I can do next week or 2 weeks from now. I said, sweet, now what? And I was thinking about calling up Weston and seeing if he could do it Sunday, because we recorded Sunday last time, but I was like, it's way too late notice. I can't be bothering him like that. And so I ended up just winging it, and
hey, it worked.
Well,
that was pretty good.
I was like 20-30 minutes before I was getting ready to start recording, and I was like, you know what would be fun is just going over hot takes. I was surprised how many people are like, what's a hot take?
To be honest, I said the same thing, but then I was like, I feel like it's just opinions about things.
Yeah, controversial opinions, perhaps.
Yeah.
Were there any of them that stuck out to you guys yesterday?
There was a couple. I mean, the ones that I probably would have commented on, one, handlebars.
Right.
You guys saw I rode up with 16s. I like my wrists
You look like
and my elbows,
a 10-year-old.
And then there's also the one we've always said there's no replacement for displacement.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, bigger motors are always nice.
I mean, they're fun.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why people get so bent out of shape about other people's bikes.
Oh.
It's like, okay, that's their bike.
Yeah.
Who cares what you think?
Right.
I don't know. I think it's fun to talk about it. Yours, I wish I knew more about Dynas versus Softails in order to elaborate more.
Yeah.
Did you want? Could you give a little more detail on that?
Not much. I mean, that's just a joke I always have with a couple of the guys that have worked here, Dyna guys, and I'm a Softail guy. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I always made fun of them because I'm like, yeah, Harley liked Dyna so much that they canceled it and turned them into a Softail. So, Softails are better than Dynas. I have nothing against Dynas. I wouldn't mind having one. So, it's just one of those little jokes that we've had around here.
So, let's see. The Fat Boy was a Softail.
Yes.
Always a Softail?
Yes.
But the Fat Bob was a Dyna.
Yep.
That one. Okay, that one I think we had talked about a couple weeks ago, and I was like, were they both Dynas? And then
Yeah, I listened to that one too, and I was like,
no, dude, you're wrong.
You're not right. So yeah, it's always Fat Boy's been a Softail.
Gotcha.
That's okay. I sucked at the quiz, so
I didn't do much better.
It was funny because there was a lot of people that were messaging me directly and was like, yeah, I didn't do super hot either. Yes. So you are in good company. Don't you worry.
I sat there. I was like, man, he's got so much time on his hands to look that stuff up because I wouldn't.
seriously, like some of the questions that he was shooting out, I'm like,
where'd you find that?
where in the world would you ever come across this?
Yeah. Unless you're digging.
I just thought it was ironic that all those strange motorcycle records were all from India. It's like, oh, we're gonna get that. That's ours.
We have all the time in the world on our hands. Let's do something stupid.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So today we wanted to talk a little bit about winterizing and maintenance. So I will explain what I've done, and then maybe Zach, if you want to share what you've done in the past, and then you're gonna be like, no, you guys are stupid. Like, come on, guys.
No.
So the only thing I've ever really done is, first off, it's going indoors, and it's because I don't have a garage, but I take it to either family or friends and that are willing to let me store, and I put it up on a lift. I put on a battery tender, and in the past I've gotten the fluids changed at the end of the season so that they're all clean fluids, and then I fill the tank full of ethanol free, and then maybe some, if I don't, then some equalizer. Stabilizer. There we go. See? What about you, Zach?
I just put it away. No, I think the first year that I owned my bike was the strange year that it rarely snowed. And so, like, winterizing wasn't a thing. I'd just put it into the garage, and then
You'd take it out.
Pull it back out, and I'd go for a ride. I would say last year would be almost similar to Jeremy of I just lifted it up off the ground, mainly for the purpose of mice in the shed. I don't really want them getting onto it. But then, first I disconnected the battery from the bike and then just put it on the tender until the light was green, and then I just took it off and let it sit. But, yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy.
No.
What do you think, Weston? Are we on the right track?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what either one of you have done. I mean, I was trying to think about this on my way down here, that I'm like, hey, this is the gospel according to Weston. So, I mean,
The gospel of Weston.
Yeah, everybody's got their own opinion. So, big things that I see, for one, is battery tenders.
Okay.
I mean, they're good to have on it. And if you have the trickle charger, you can leave it on because it automatically shuts off. And then it kicks back on when that battery drops down. So depending on what you have for a charger, you could just leave it on and not worry about it.
See, so I have the battery tender, or the battery tender junior 4 amp. I think it says charger and maintainer. So is that one of those things where it would just...
Yeah, if you've got it on the maintainer and that, I mean, it's smart enough to know the difference, and it tends the battery.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have to worry. A lot of people I see, they don't do that. I mean, springtime, like I told you, is notorious for batteries.
You get like 30 bikes in just for batteries.
Oh yeah, all the time, because they don't put a charger on it or anything like that. The other thing, if you're not keeping it in a climate controlled area, then it is nice to put that stabilizer in it, just because it can go from hot to cold and all that. Other thing that neither one of you mentioned is, if you have security, don't keep your fob on the bike, because the fob will drain the battery.
Interesting.
And it also draws the battery in the fob quicker.
Oh.
Because they're both reading each other. So keep your key fob away from your bike, and then that'll help you too.
That would make sense, because the years that I have stored at a friend's place, I think I did keep the key on the bike. And I did have issues with it starting the next year because of the fob.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
Yeah.
I guess with the batteries, what kind of lifespan are we to expect if you do keep it on a tender when you're in the winters?
It's hard to say. I mean, this is one that I am a firm believer in Harley batteries.
Versus
anything
not off-brand.
else. Yeah. Because I've seen a lot of them. We usually get anywhere from 5 to... I just replaced one this year that was 9 years.
Jeez.
So, I mean...
So is that somebody who's tending even in the summer times, or... Because there's no real reason to do it in the summertime, right?
No.
If you're riding.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I put them on in the wintertime, and that's about it. And like I said, I've pulled 9 years out of my battery.
Jeez.
So it's... like I said, Harley ones, that's about what we get. You can see, I've seen a lot of the Walmart and Napa batteries that are 1 to 2 years. And granted, they're a lot cheaper than Harley batteries.
What's the price range on a battery for those? So I can't even remember. I think that I got a Harley one last time, and I haven't switched it since I bought it. So
I know they just went up. But I think for you guys, you're about 190-ish.
I was going to say, I think the last time I checked, it was 195.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have one then, because I don't know if I'd be willing to buy that one.
But if you haven't, when did you buy your bike? You bought it a couple years ago.
I think it's about 3.5 years that I've had it.
So, I mean...
whatever I have, I'll have to double check, because I think I got it at a Harley dealership, but I'm not positive.
Well, they were cheaper then.
Probably.
I mean,
3 years ago, they were like
prices-
$50 cheaper.
Yeah, prices on everything have gone up like crazy just this last year or two.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the batteries are, like I said, I'll push a Harley battery over any of them, because if you look at it, your price for the other ones, maybe you're $100. You buy that every 2 years, you've already paid for the Harley battery.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, if that is the case, does Harley have a company that they contract with to make their batteries, or do they have them all in-house, or what's
Yeah, they go through, I want to say it's Deca that does their batteries. So, and
is that something you can't buy, like a generic Deca version, or are they just not as good?
I think they're out there, if I remember right, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're probably just like, well, pull that one off the shelf.
It's just got a different brand on it. Instead of saying Harley-Davidson, now it says Deca Battery.
Yeah.
Or I'm looking at one right there that says Superstar. That's your O'Reilly battery.
Yeah, and that's why it's on the floor instead of in a motorcycle.
That one got ripped out, Zach. Come on, man. Some dingus put an off-brand battery in their Harley-Davidson.
Yeah, well, so did I. So
It happens. I mean, I get it. So,
Yeah. I mean, if it's between $30-40 extra and riding your bike, then I don't know.
Yeah.
yeah, my battery went out, I want to say back in February. I don't know. It was sometime earlier this year. And I was debating either getting the new Harley Lithium, or I can't remember what the brand is at Walmart, but it's not the Walmart brand. I'd have to look it up, but I can't remember. But it's a lithium battery too, because when I went to go pull the battery out of my motorcycle, I grabbed it one hand and was like, "Holy freak, this thing's heavy!" Like, what the crap?
I was just going to say that same thing, because I think there's supposed to be like a strap that comes underneath the battery so you can kind of pull on it. But when I got the bike from the previous
mine's
owner,
broke.
Yeah, I think yours broke, but I think mine was like routed wrong, or maybe it was broken too. And so, yeah, I'm like death gripping this battery to try and pull it out. And I'm like 2 inches up, 2 inches up. Oh, it just dropped out of it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like a strongman event.
They don't give you very much room to do them things.
No.
Is there any sort of special like clamp you just
I use an old seat strap.
old seat strap, huh?
So I take it and I've got 2 bolts that run through the holes in the seat strap, bolting them into the battery and just pull it out that
There
way.
you go, like right
brilliant.
onto the battery.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because I see a lot of them where that strap will fall down in the motorcycle and you can't get to it, and I've pinched my fingers multiple times, and
Yeah, mine's broke.
so
It's
Hey,
non-existent.
you just gotta get a
But
good
hey,
old seat strap.
I have a new battery that weighs like a half a pound. So you go in there
Oh,
and
the
you're like,
lithiums are like a lot
yeah,
lighter.
oh yeah.
So what?
There's nothing to them.
I'm not sure what kind of batteries were they before. Were they like lead acid or something?
they're an AGM.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I mean, and they're, well, I think, and don't quote me, but I think they're like 13, 20 pounds lighter. Something like
Jeez.
that for a lithium. When we first got them in, I mean, we would play with each other and we'd chuck the box at them, and they're like, oh, and then
it's not that bad.
Yeah.
because they're so light, but they're different too. When it's cold, that battery's gonna act like it's dead unless
Yeah.
you hit the start button a few times on it, and then it
Which I
activates.
found that
Really?
out the other day because
So if the battery's cold, it'll struggle to start.
it won't struggle to start. It just the bike doesn't recognize that there's a battery attached to it, and so like you'll turn your ignition on and nothing happens.
Like
And
it's
you
dead.
have to
It
kind
looks
of
like it's dead.
So you kind of have to like
Interesting.
cycle it a couple of times. I actually just hooked up my maintainer and kind of faked it into it and turned on, and it fired up no problem because
Yeah.
the battery's not dead. But my bike had been sitting for 2 months
Yeah.
because of a flat tire. And so this was right after I had just gotten the tire back from you, and I put it on there and was like, well, freak.
My battery. I just switched this thing out.
It's a brand new battery.
Oh,
But yeah, no,
gosh.
I plugged it in and it gave it enough to, have the motorcycle be like, oh, hey, there's something present, and then it fired up, no problem.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I put it just equally as heavy. Is that a newer technology in the last year or two? Because I'm almost positive I put the exact same heavy battery in that I do.
I feel like you're one of those people that sees it though, and you're like, let's just go with the same thing because it's been working.
Right.
and they're
Right,
more
like-
expensive. They're like $100 more.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
But it's new for Harley, but lithium batteries have been around for a while.
Right. Well, yeah. I was just thinking about. I did not expect it to be that big because in all the other bikes I've ever owned, it's been, pretty small battery comparatively, like maybe a quarter the size. And so when I popped it open, I was like, oh.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right. So is that everything we should cover on batteries? Is there anything else you can do to extend the life of a battery, or?
like I said, just keep it on trickle charger helps.
Keep your key away.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess on a security standpoint, you probably don't want your key sitting by your bike anyways.
Somebody just come up and jack it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question about that, and maybe you know, maybe you don't. If you start the bike near the key and then left the key and drove away, would it still run, or would it eventually? Yeah. But you just wouldn't be able to turn it on the next time you went to turn it on.
Right. Unless you know your PIN number.
Okay, I wanted to talk about that too because I thought I had mine set, but maybe I'm just doing it wrong because I can't get it to do it without the key. I don't know. Well, that'll be a discussion for another day because that would be really nice in case I did accidentally leave my key at home and have to start it on. Is that any bike with a fob, or is that tour bikes only? Or?
No, it's pretty much anything with security has a PIN number that you can put in, and that's good. Like I said, if your fob battery's dead, or like I said, if you forget it, I've done that. I've drove off without my key, and it starts flashing no key, and all that.
Yeah, I did that the other day with my truck, though. I drove over here to Logan to get stuff at my parents', and my wife and daughter stayed home. And then I got here, and I loaded everything up I needed to go into Logan to meet up with my parents, and my truck wouldn't start. I'm like, what the freak? I'm like, oh, crap. And it doesn't have that ability. That would have been really convenient if my truck could, type in a few numbers and call it a day. That would be nice, but no, it's not a thing. All right, so when it comes to lifting your bike up, does that make that much of a difference for the lifespan of your tires? Because I've heard that if you do, you leave it on the ground, you're creating flat spots if you don't move it at all or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I guess that also depends on your tire pressures. So if you're not rolling them around, I got, like I said, according to Weston.
The gospel of Weston.
I don't worry about that because, I mean, my bike moves around enough that I don't think you're going to get too much of a flat spot within a couple months. But, yeah, some people worry about it. It's not on the top of my list by any means.
Is there anything else that can happen by leaving it on the ground? Or, I mean, like Zach said, just like keep environment off and whatnot, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think even then that's still, you can still get it. They can climb up anything.
Right. If there's a will, there's a way.
I mean,
not wrong.
And they've been, I've had bikes come in with mice in them and stuff like
just
that.
Just cooked to the engine or something?
Well, they get in the fairing. Because they like the wire. They like the insulation on the wire, so they'll chew the wires. And then you're replacing harnesses, and they stink so bad.
I believe it. I wonder if that's what happened to that cable under my seat. Because Zach and I did the tour pack removal kit on my bike, and we did all the connectors and everything, and then there was the cable for the. It's
for the antenna.
Yeah, the antenna cable that goes to the back. And I was like, oh, I don't need this. And I just kind of coiled it up and stuffed it under the seat. And then the next time I lifted up my seat, it had like grounded out somehow, and it had cooked itself to the top of my CPU or what do you call that?
Just the ECM.
ECM on top of the. Yeah, I was like, Zach, look what happened.
Yeah,
we ended up having to rip it out.
Freaking bizarre. I was like, oh.
Yeah, like the cable was like melted and
wow.
Yeah, it was. Anyways, ended up ripping it out. But I wonder if that's what happened. Is it had gotten a little nommed on and then.
I don't know if we ripped it out. I think we just disconnected it from the back of the stereo.
No, we cut it out.
Did we?
Because it was like melted on the inside as well. Like the connector into the radio, I thought was melted a little too.
I don't know.
That's too long ago.
It's been a minute. That's been over a year. I can barely remember what happened yesterday.
Let's see. What's next? Stabilizer in your fuel. Is it as long as you're putting stabilizer in, you're good with any fuel, or what's your recommendation on fuel and capacity and stuff like that?
Well, I would say fill it up, of course. I mean, have a full tank, put it in there. And like I said, that's if you're not in a controlled environment.
Okay.
Climate controlled.
So what's happening exactly with the fuel in a non-climate controlled area?
Well,
I don't know exactly.
I was thinking about this on the way down too, and I mean the comparison I thought of is if you take a hot shower, your bathroom gets condensation. Same thing there. I mean, if your gas is getting cold and getting hot, and cold and hot, then you get condensation. Which is the same thing with. I mean, another thing is people say, "Well, I go out and start my bike every other week and let it run for 5-10 minutes."
Is that causing it to do that anyways? Because like you're heating up the fuel anyways, and then you're letting it cool down. So is that like expediting the process of rusting?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's not something I would recommend, is to go out and just start it every now and then, because of the same thing. Like I said, it creates condensation and long-term problems if you don't run it very often.
So is there not any sort of like protectant on the inside of the tanks to go against that, or it just only lasts so long?
There is, yeah, but I mean it breaks down too over time. I mean, I've got a lot of bikes that come in here that it's fallen off.
Oh man!
But that's if you're leaving gas in there for years.
Oh, okay.
So if a bike's been sitting for a while, it'll eat that up. I mean, the ethanol in the gas it's not the best thing. I mean, it eats the plastic and the rubber and all that stuff and just breaks it all down. But that's why they always tell you to try to go ethanol free. But it's hard to.
And the stabilizer counteracts it. Like I don't know. Is that? I'm not a mechanic.
It'll help a little bit. I mean, and like I said, it's not going to save anything, just because I have had other guys with that problem that, well, I put stabilizer in it, and it's just time. Mm-hmm. Just like everything else, it just wears out, just breaks down. Stabilizer will do it too. So
gotcha. And what's the process of fixing that? Like, if you do end up getting rusted tank bad, are you having to pull it completely apart and like sandblast it and everything?
Yeah, I mean, there's remedies out there that people do. I mean, you see the old guys with nuts and bolts inside there shaking, and there's chemicals you put in there that'll help break it down, and then they can recoat it. We've had to do that a few times. Sometimes it's just cheaper to buy a new tank.
Oh, really?
So
what are you looking for a new tank?
About $1,000, and that's just the tank. So then if it's got bad enough, then you're replacing the pump, the filter, and all that stuff, and that adds up too.
Golly.
Then you're painting it to match your motorcycle. That's another
$300
easily.
At least. So you're basically, don't let your fuel screw you over, because you might be out of an entire bike.
Yeah, but I say that's leaving it sitting for quite a while. I mean, over the winter, it's not going to do that. So,
gotcha. Okay. Any other advice on winterizing?
The other thing you mentioned was oil.
Okay.
I get that question quite a bit about, well, do I change it before? Do I change it after? And that one I'll just kind of say is a personal preference.
It won't matter either way.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing it yearly.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the saying of, when in doubt, change it out. And I was talking to Brandon the other day about all that, and he's like, I was always taught that you want to have fresh oil in there to coat stuff. And if you've got the old oil in there, it's got the acid that'll break stuff down, and you don't want that sitting in there. But he's like, I do it either way, and I'm the same way. I mean, I can't say I change my oil before I store it. Just so, like I said, that's all a personal preference. Whatever you want to do, I think, as long as you got something in there.
So when you do a fluids change, what are all the different fluids you guys are hitting on the bikes? Because is there like all the oils? You've got if you could break it down for us, I guess.
Well, you've got, of course, depending on your bike. Most of them will have your engine, transmission, and your primary. So you change all three of them. Sportsters only have two, because your transmission and primary is the same. Like your Pan Americas, the Revolution Max, all that is all one.
Oh, really?
V-rods are one. So, like I said, depending on your bike, but yeah, usually if you do all 3 fluids, like I say, we usually do them about every 5,000 miles.
Okay.
So
if you're not hitting 5,000 miles in a season, you don't need to be doing it every season, or do you still suggest a season change?
Like I said, it's up to you. I mean, oil's cheap. Oil's a lot cheaper than the motor.
Right.
So whatever makes you feel better. So.
All right. So let's kind of go over some basic maintenances that you would suggest in order to really extend the lifetime of a motorcycle, because I think there's a lot of things you can do that maybe this is just my opinion and it's wrong, and you can educate me. But like, there's some things that can wait maybe a little longer, and then other things that it's like, if you really want your bike to last, these are the things that you need to do. So what would be primary thing to least important when it comes to your PMs?
Well, I mean, of course, oil's always your biggest. My grandpa always taught me when I was a kid that he's like, you can run this car as far as you want without gas, but don't go anywhere without oil. And so oil, like I said, it's cheap. I'd much rather replace oil than a motor. So that for me would always be number one thing to worry about. The next thing, of course, is you've got your clutch and your belt. If you don't have a belt, you're not going anywhere. So if you don't keep up on that tension, then that's what breaks belts. And the clutch you need a clutch to drive too. If that's loose and you're slipping all the time, then you're gonna burn up your clutch. So I said those would probably be my big thing. So and then
what's the belt and clutch frequency? Like, how often are you working on those?
We do them every 5,000.
Okay.
Like I said, we've got the 5,000 mile service, which is like all 3 fluids. It's belt, it's clutch, it's lube and cables. That's another thing that's pretty big when you adjust them, lube the cables, because if not, it's raw metal working against metal and they break. It does spark plugs. We check brake pads, tires, spokes. Spokes are kind of a big thing too, because they come loose and you start wobbling, and then you got to replace wheels.
Right.
So, but I mean, that's, like I said, every 5,000 is what they do. And that's usually your big service. They can come in for a 7,500 mile and just do engine oil, but that's all a personal preference too.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was gonna say, Zach, with your bike and spokes, because mine's got the mag wheel. Is that what you call it, right? I didn't realize that the tire had an actual tube in it, like an air tube. Because you were having issues with that, right?
Yeah.
You didn't know that was how it was.
Yeah. And apparently,
it's an oddball
my
tire.
tube is an oddball size, and there's like 5 in the left in the state of Utah.
What size is the tire?
It's, what is it? A 130?
I can't remember. Something like that, and an 18-inch.
Yeah.
18-inch rim.
So it's an oddball.
Yeah.
The dude at Ogden literally said to buy a second one because you don't know what's going to happen.
Did you buy a second one?
Maybe I'll just buy the rest of them that you have in stock.
Yeah, I'll buy 6 of them so this bike lasts me the rest of my life. Did you do anything else with the tires? Like do any of that spoke maintenance when you?
I don't know. What'd you do?
I changed your tire and put a new tube in it.
No, I think when I got my tires 3,000 miles ago or so, they redid the spokes and everything, and then I blew a tire, and I don't think that would be a big deal. Like nothing should have happened. Maybe the 65 PSI that I put in the tire probably wasn't a good idea, but
Not much.
it worked. I got home. I'm saying this in front of Harley Tech too. He's probably like,
What did you
crazy,
do?
Man.
Did you take a screw or something or a bolt to the tire?
Yeah, I took
Oh, no, it was a roofing nail,
Yeah, it was
wasn't
a 2-inch roofing nail. And
You got home from Salt Lake on it.
Yeah, I started filling it up, and I'm like, well, it's holding air, so I was like, let's go.
I have a video on my phone of one of the techs was checking a tire on a bike, and he's like, dude, come check this out. So we took the camera on it, and went 95 psi.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. We're like, yeah, that's not normal.
I'm surprised it didn't blow up.
Me too.
I was putting air in my tire waiting for it to explode too, because I'm like,
You're filling it up, just looking away. And then you had a projectile sitting in that tire in case it exploded.
yeah. Well, yeah, I filled it up and was like, full send, baby, here we go. I made it. The air lasted 2 days in the tire.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, I can't just keep running with this thing, so we got to do something.
When it comes to tires, is there anything you can do to extend the lifetime of a tire, or is it just
Tire pressure?
You're gonna tire pressure's key.
Yep. Keep up on your tire pressure. If you run it low, because it gets hot. I mean, if you're running low, it's going to get hotter, and then it wears out your tread. And then you start getting cupping and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, just tire pressure. That's always, everybody comes in, my bike's
policy.
wobbling, and it's like, what's your tire pressure at? 20? Put air in it. There goes your wobble.
I think he's asking this because he just recently put tires
I know.
on
I was
his
like,
bike. So he's like,
that was one pretty penny. Oh my gosh.
We watched.
I'm like, why does this cost the same much as my truck? I'm like,
We watched last year, 2 years ago, tires jump $100 in price.
oh, is that why it's so bad? Oh my gosh.
I was going to say, when I bought my tires, it was like $110 for the front and $165 for the back or something like that. And now it's like $250 for the front tire.
Oh,
I was going to say, I think I paid like around $500 just in rubber.
Yeah.
And they gave me a discount too. So,
Yep.
yeah.
yep. Yeah.
And then what's the service fee for putting on a set of tires usually here?
Right now we've got a special that it's like, I think 98 per tire.
That's not bad.
So,
So you're out like $700-ish out the door.
yeah, for a set of motorcycle tires.
Yeah, I think that's about two of them.
2 tires.
I was kind of expecting a discount for me having to be your guys' delivery boy, but that didn't happen.
What are you talking about? What happened there, Zach?
I just run the back. I don't run the counter.
Brandon.
Does Brandon listen? Does Brandon listen?
I've told him about it. He has never really talked about it, but
If he does, come find me in the parking lot. Just kidding. Just kidding, Brandon. Thank you for helping me out. I appreciate
You better
it.
watch yourself. He'll get you new tires next time, and he'll put a nail in it before you go. He's like, oh, I don't know.
we'll get the finder's fee on the next time. Charge you double.
The good news is they'll still have a warranty, and it'll be coming right back in.
He'll be waiting for a warranty to end the next time you come in. He's like, and there goes the tack.
No, I
Brandon's a
do
good guy.
appreciate it. It was a pretty bad crap show that we had to go through, but
Was that like right before our trip?
That was
no, it
Peach
was
Days.
before Peach Days.
Oh, it was Peach Days.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was supposed to have the bike in the show the next day, and I get a call. I texted you, and then he called me, and he's like, hey, we haven't even had a guy come up from Ogden. I'm like,
Are you serious?
do they have one in stock? Like, can I go down and pick it up and bring it up to you? And he's like, yeah, they have it. It's set aside for you.
Oh, man.
They just haven't brought it up. And so literally I walked in and I was like, hey, I guess I have a part waiting for me. And he goes, are you Zach? I'm like, yeah. He goes, it's a transfer. Just take it on up and they'll charge you up there. I was like, okay. Then I was looking at the tag. I'm like, oh, it's $33 for this tube. And I was like, sweet. And then I
Why did you
get
think it
up
was going to
here.
be more expensive?
It was expensive. It was not $33. It was $56.
Is it just because and there goes our lights.
Hey, at least we have these lights. Oh, hey, look, there we go. We're good.
It'll only be on for about another, I think, 5-10 minutes.
Is that our warning?
Just letting you know, viewers, that the lights shut off every hour. So
We're after hours today. It's the after hours show.
but yeah, it was $56. I thought I was getting the price on the tag, and then I think I walked out at $75.
Transfer for you. That's our cost.
Oh, jeez.
Once again, my discount of being your delivery boy.
We'll work it out better next time.
No, it all worked out, and I came up, and I mean, I had been texting him, and he's like, if you get it here by 4:30, I'll have it done for you. And I got it here at like 4:05-ish, 4:15. And he had me out the door in 15 minutes. So I was like, sweet, thanks, dude.
Yeah, well, speaking of issues, we talked about it a little before the show, but I tried to do the cleaning the bolts and Loctiting and re-cranking down those bolts for the transmission cover on my bike, and it is still leaking, sadly. It's not as bad, but what would be, for those who are listening that have similar issues, what would be the definitive fix on that bike?
Get an M8.
I've got plenty of bikes on the showroom floor.
Come on, man. You think I'm made out of money or something?
There's this really
Get this
good looking
podcast
one right
going.
here. It's probably
my
somebody's,
gosh. Dude, that I don't know. What have you made a decision on the new body style versus the old body style? What's your thoughts?
Hey, I'm still an old body style guy.
Yeah.
It's growing on me, but I like the older body style.
I think they struck gold with this Road Glide. I mean, the new one looks really nice, but you look at that CVO, what do they call that? The shark tooth part of the fairing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that's hot as gold. Like, I would love to have that bike right there. Those CVOs are beautiful.
Oh yeah.
But I don't have 50 grand.
That one's a monster too. It's got the 131 in it and all that stuff.
That one
too.
right there?
Yep.
They just haven't changed the badging yet.
Yeah. They didn't want to change too much.
Holy crap.
What are you looking at for something like that? Because is that a kit? Like a bore kit?
And just the kit itself is $6,000. And then labor's probably about another 2-ish, 2.5.
Well, it's good that the labor's cheaper than
Unless you do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bring it to me when you break it.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
I'd just buy a crate motor and put it in.
Is a crate motor that much easier? You just slap it onto because the crate motor doesn't come with a transmission. You're using the existing transmission, right?
Right. Yeah. You're still pulling the primary. You got to pull all the electronics and stuff like that, and then swap. Yeah. Basically the full. It's called a long block. So.
How many of those have you done?
And not a lot.
They're
Most of the time
not
I
super
do them I do them when the motor's shot. So, I mean, when people run them out of oil or things like that. So I haven't done a ton. But usually people just do the kits because it is a little cheaper.
Right, versus buying a whole engine.
Yeah.
See, and that's what I was saying on the podcast yesterday or today. Excuse me. I mean, with these Milwaukee 8s that I've driven or ridden, the 117 or the 114, they seem like plenty of power for 99% of people. So the only thing I would imagine that I would be tempted to get a 131 or anything like that is if I exploded an engine. And then it was like, well, I can pay, how much is a 131 or one, because they have a 134 crate, right? Is that the biggest
35.
one? 135?
Yeah.
And I think those are like, are they like 15 grand?
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
I'm like, well, spend 15 grand on a new engine or 30 something on a new bike.
But yeah.
Well, at that point, you'd have to because they changed the frame style. So the 135 wouldn't fit on your bike.
He's not wrong.
On which bike?
Yours.
On yours.
Oh, yeah, mine's
You
not.
can't put a 135.
Well, yeah. No, I'm saying
You can't
like
put
if
the
I had
M8
a
platform on yours.
Yes.
So at that
could
point,
get
you
it.
would have to get.
I think S&S
yourself.
makes a 130 something.
I know they
cam.
do the 124.
Yeah, I was say I know the 124. I'm sure they do, but I don't follow S&S
If I
too
did,
much.
well, if I did blow up an engine, if I blow up this bike, I'm not buying another twin cam. I'm just going to save up and get an M8 because I want one. They seem like the superior engine.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
It's a great motor. I'm I love the twin cam because I love the sound. Mm-hmm. And you can't get that with the Milwaukee 8 too well. Granted, I mean, like I said, with that one and the motor, he's got some noise in it, but you still don't get that, just that Harley lope that you can get out of a twin cam or an old Evo.
That was the comment I was gonna make. It seems like almost every generation someone says like it's not the same. Like it's good, but it's not the same because those, the Evo or the flathead, panhead, all the different heads.
Yeah.
They all have their own kind of specific tune.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I guess, what you're looking for.
Yeah, but power-wise, I mean, the Milwaukee 8, hands down, it's got more power than the twin cam will. Granted, you can build a twin cam, but just straight out the gate, that Milwaukee 8's a great motor. I haven't seen too many issues with them.
Yeah, they're pretty bulletproof as long as you take care of them.
Yeah, just like anything. As long as you take care of it, it'll run as long as you want it to. I've got my Evo in the corner's got over 100,000 miles on it.
That's good.
Still
you have
running
one. You
strong.
have one here. Your Evo's here. Oh, okay. We'll have to look at it. You got nice bikes. You got the Deluxe out back, and then what's your Evo?
It's a 91 Tour Glide.
Okay.
So it's the
predecessor to the Road Glide,
Yep.
right?
And then I've got an 07 Softail Standard. It's back there too.
Okay. Man, the whole family's together.
Yeah, it's about winter time. They all come here.
Oh, really? You store them here, huh? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's one of the perks.
Free.
Just shove them in a corner. Throw them on the battery tender. All righty. Any other motorcycle things you've been on your mind at all recently? You don't just stay up at night dreaming about motorcycles?
I try not to because I think about them all day, every day. That's one thing I think about working here, that it kind of gets repetitive.
I could see that.
So I've had to kind of branch out to a few other things and try to get out to other stuff. But it's, like I said, I've been doing this. I think I told you guys last time that I've been in this industry for 14 years. So, I mean, it's starting to get really repetitive. And it's try to get that flame ignited a little bit more. And got to do a few things to help that out. But usually when I get out of here, I try to shut it off as much as I can.
Just enjoy bikes for what they are.
Yeah.
And then we ask him to come back on his day off.
Hey, hold on. He invited us.
I asked you here. But this is fun. I mean, I'd love being able to sit down and just talk bikes and stuff. It's still fun to me.
Yeah.
I just said I enjoy it and get other people's opinions and be able to give out mine. That doesn't matter whether you take it or not. So,
Okay.
Do you guys as a dealership get any insider information on future stuff when it comes to Harley-Davidson? Or do they keep it pretty hush-hush in general?
They usually keep it pretty hush-hush. I mean, sometimes a lot of the stuff we find out the same time you guys do.
Really?
So they don't tell us too much. They used to send us videos like a couple days before they'd give the new releases, so that we'd have an idea. But they've kind of stopped doing that, and now it's just when it releases, you guys watch it, we watch it, and everybody's asking us questions about this and that, and we're
right.
kind of struggling like, I have no idea what you're talking
brand
about.
new, guys. How are we supposed to know?
Yep.
So you usually just get like paints and carryover models.
Yeah.
Do you have any predictions for this coming year? Do you think that I've heard rumblings? Well, the internet says a lot of people think that like the Ultra Limited platform and the Road Glide Ultra or Road Glide Limited are going to be a thing of the past. What do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, if it were me personally, I'd think you're stupid if you do. Just because, I mean, they're still pretty popular, but then again, I mean, they have changed a lot of other stuff and now they've got like all the package deals.
Yeah, that was the idea. Is that what people are thinking? Is that instead of offering it from the factory like that, you're just making it a package deal. Like, hey, we'll in advance we'll throw on your parts and you can ride out of here with essentially a Road Glide Limited, but we're not going to offer it as a limited.
And it could be. Like I said, I don't have the answer to that. I mean, but yeah, I guess I could see that happening.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm like, if you do that, you're going to save yourself on tooling at the factory. You're going to be just making essentially when it comes to the tour bikes, you're making 3 bikes, and you won't have to switch tooling on what size tires you're putting on them and what settings you're putting on them and whatever. So I hope if you do that, you better be passing some of those savings on to the rest of us. And I think they have done that with these new bikes where they've consolidated from the ST Special and Standard, where it's all just kind of one bike. Mm-hmm. That, from what I can tell, it's a lot more affordable because it's $26,500 or something.
I think that's MSRP.
MSRP, yeah.
But I mean, we had earlier this year, I mean, just to get new bikes in, and you could sell a new Road Glide Street Glide for about $30. Mm-hmm. But then the 23s were on the floor, and they're priced $32 to $35.
Right, because the specials were around that price range. So it was hard to sell those. Mm-hmm. You were just selling all the new ones out and having all the old ones.
Yeah, they were running specials on them, trying to get them out the door, and still people weren't biting. So, I mean, I think Harley did make it a little cheaper. Mm-hmm. But...
yeah, I noticed when I was at Golden Spike, they had some of those Nightster S's for like $10,000.
Yeah.
And I think that's almost $6,000 off from MSRP. And I was like, man, maybe I need to grab myself a... Don't do it. Don't do it.
I didn't say that.
Is there a lot of issues with the Rev Max engine, or is it pretty
really
good? It's just the styling of the Nightster is not the best.
That's what a lot of people don't really care for, is the way it looks. They're like, that's not Harley. That's not a Harley look. Or anything like that. I mean, I haven't had too many problems. Most of the problems I've seen have been electrical, just because all the new stuff they have there. And that was like the Pan America was pretty bad when it first came out for electrical. But haven't seen too many of them since then with that kind of issues.
Yeah, I don't hate the styling of the Nightster. My only issue with the Nightster is maybe it's just old thinking, but it bothers me that the tank is not a tank. It's the air filter, right? And then the tank's beneath the seat, or something along those lines.
I gotta remember. Sportster S is a tank.
Yes, it's
the Nightster. Yeah, the Nightster is the one that's underneath the seat.
Yeah.
So
and that just kind of bothers me. I don't know why. Is the V-Rod the same way?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
Do you like the V-Rod, Zach?
No comment.
What are you talking about?
An old technician that used to work here, that every time he'd hop on one, he'd start whistling at you, giving you cat calls and all that. He's like, every time you hop on one, you start looking at guys' butts. Sorry.
I mean, I've never sat on a V-Rod. What's funny to me about the V-Rods is I see on Instagram and stuff where people trick them out like crazy and they make them look really cool. But I'm like, the stock ones don't hit it for me, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably the issue that the Nightster's having is to me it has similar-esque styling of that kind of era. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. I'm actually kind of surprised on how quiet Harley has been this year because I thought they'd have more releases. Like typically, it seems like the last several years they've had like a mid-season paint release, and I don't think we got that this year, right? Because last year was it the Apex, that black and orange, or was that the year before?
No, that was last year.
That was last year, and then we've had the Snake Venom and I don't know, just a couple of them, but we didn't get that this year.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like I said, if I knew that, I'd probably be in a different job right now. But like I said, they keep it pretty tight just because they, for some reason, don't want it to leak out. So,
have you seen any of their? I don't know what you'd call them, like potential bikes, like the Bronx and the.
I think last I heard on the Bronx was they put
that on the Kibosh.
Yeah.
Calling it good.
And I mean that's the only kind of thing they ever leaked when they leaked that in the Pan America, and and stuff like that, the Sportster. But
Well, and they also had that leak like right before 2 years ago for the road glide, or not road glide, the lowrider ST.
oh yeah,
I remember they had a couple pictures leaked that were like, they looked like they were taken from the roof. I swear that Harley-Davidson does it on purpose. They're like, well, let's see if people like this stuff. So they put it out and call it a leak. And then if people like it, then okay. If they don't like it, okay, let's fix a few things before we actually release in 2 weeks. I don't know.
wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, I wonder that because there's, like I said, there's a few leaks that you guys know before we do. But I don't know how it gets out. I mean, we always go through classes with the confidentiality and all that stuff, but I'm like, oh, I don't see anything, so I can't say anything because I don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
But,
how am I supposed to share things I don't know?
yeah.
Anyways, well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Any other last second comments, Zach? Any things you wish to share with the world of our small audience?
I don't know.
We missed you on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
By we, I mean I. I missed you.
You yourself and I.
Me, myself, and I, and my computer.
Yeah, I probably could have come over and done something because friggin' we were staring at rocks. That's how bad.
Did you not get
hunting was.
anything? Oh no.
No.
We didn't even see a single elk, man.
How much time do you have until you're done? Are you?
We're done.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it ended on Friday. Yeah, Kayla and I were out there probably for, I'd say at least 48 hours, just sitting there staring and staring and staring. I'm like,
Some good couple bonding time.
that's basically what it was. Like, hey, babe, you want to go have a journey into the mountains where we can just sit and talk to each other? It's not like we
4
can't do
days
this
straight.
every other day of the week, but yeah, no, it was. And we kept talking to hunters on the mountain. They're like, it's a crappy year. Yeah. There was a guy that saw one bull, and he's like, it's a 15-mile hike down an incline like that just to get down to him. And I'm like, you got to think about it. Yeah, you can go down and you can go see it. If you take your shot and you kill it, you got to go back up.
Take it up. Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not even worth it.
I saw a video where it's like, is this cheating?
Yeah.
Is what it was labeled. Is this cheating? And it's like a guy standing over a big elk and a helicopter comes flying over.
Honestly.
And drops a cable and they hook it on and fly it out. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's kind of cheating. That's not fair.
That's what I told Kayla. I'm like, if we get an elk all the way at the bottom, I'm literally calling a helicopter and it's coming to pick it up because I'm not backing this sucker out. But yeah, we didn't see. I mean, we saw, I want to say it was 16 doe. We didn't see any bucks. We didn't see any bulls. We didn't see any cows. We saw 4 moose, which I thought were more, on the back burner animals than elk were.
Oh, like harder to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw 4 of them, and we saw, I want to say it, over 50 turkeys and 1 coyote.
Oh.
And
Did you shoot at it?
If we had the opportunity, I swear this was a crackhead coyote because it did not stop moving. It was just everywhere. And I was like, if we had a shot at it, we would have taken it. And, it's $50.
I was going to say, do they still have the price tag on their head?
If you take the jaw and the
ears, right?
no, it's the top part of the skull. They'll give you $50. But
I hear that's hard work. That's hard to accomplish.
Yeah.
It's not just the one you found, but
yeah, no, he was freaking everywhere. But yeah, we had a good time staring at rocks and
getting to know each other out in the wilderness.
We definitely, I definitely missed the podcast, and there's probably going to be more times where we're off doing something else. And
there's going to be a week that I'm gone, and I'm like, Zach, here's the key to the house. Good luck.
Zach's going to have to run the podcast by himself.
I'm still, a lot of the people that commented saying how much they got on that trivia episode, they're like, you were so mean, or like, he better get back at you. I'm like, he's going to get back at me. Like, spend some time and we'll get it. But
yeah,
it was good.
But yeah, no, I appreciate, all the listeners and the viewers. And I mean, just going over all the statistics in the podcast just today, I was like, this is awesome. Like, to hear where we're reaching and, the community that we have behind us, supporting us, it's phenomenal. And to be able to get people on like Weston and,
to invite us to a place like this,
to actually be like, hey, come out and let's have a chat. Like, come meet me halfway.
I know. I was like, I want to have Weston on more often, but he's so far away.
Yeah.
I feel bad calling him out. So maybe this will be a good option for us.
Right. This is like, it's almost 6s for both of us, and I feel like it's a lot easier than saying, hey, we're going to drive an hour and a half, or hey, come down, drive an hour and a half to Jeremy's house, because like...
Well, I doubt Weston wants us at his place. Like, no, stay with.
Well, I mean, the point still stands, is like, it's a lot easier just to meet in the middle at, something like this, where, our passion's right behind us.
Right. That's what's nice, have the nice motorcycle backdrop.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd just say thank you to everybody, and thanks for Weston for coming back out and being on the podcast. I feel like this guy's just a natural.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like we were all nervous the first time, especially like the people that we met on the street at Peach Days.
Oh,
They're
man.
like, I don't want to talk, and then once you get going, you're just like, it's just like hanging out with your buddies. Like it don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once you get past the whole fact that there's a camera sitting there, it's just, like I said, we're just sitting talking.
Yeah, it's not even, I mean, maybe if it was a fancier camera, like a big old camera looking at us, it might be a little more intimidating, but it's kind of like, oh, there's my phone.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing to do. So I've enjoyed it. I know you have.
Oh, I love it. I love doing it.
And we'll just keep continuing, and hopefully we can have you back on it again.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Well, thank you, Weston, for having us, and thank you all for listening to another episode of the Beehive Biker Podcast. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.